Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope your Wednesday is going good. We have a mail day, a TTM, and then we'll rip some packs of 1991 Pro Set. I'll get those established here so we can have that kind of going. I think we'll open 3 packs of those, so I'll set those right there so they'll be on screen. Just have this box that I picked up at Tennessee last year, or Kentucky, or somewhere at a flea market, and just kind of been sitting over there in the corner looking at them. Before we get started, though, special thanks to Nick Bazia, who commented yesterday about this card that I had pulled. It is numbered, and I just missed that, so I'm looking forward to getting some new glasses or contacts that will allow me to see stuff like this. So thank you to all my viewers out there that do point out stuff that I do miss. It does happen frequently, and probably, hopefully, at an alarming rate that I should be getting it taken care of. I just got to get an appointment scheduled, and then they'll tell me that I need a new prescription, and I'll say, well, of course. Anyway, TTM, excuse me, coming from Birmingham, Alabama. I will tell you it's not an official Alabama gang member, but it's kind of been, this driver's been christened occasionally as an Alabama gang, an honorary member. He raced a lot in the All-Pro Series, a lot of short tracks down in the South, portion of the country. Formed a team briefly with his dad in the late 80s and did start to run the full season in 1991 for Team 3, was released midway, and if you guessed Mickey Gibbs, you have guessed correctly. So there he is on the 92 Black Max with his Team 3 racing uniform on. Of course, Team 3 was owned by, I've pronounced it as Sam McMahon. Scene Vault podcast, Kenny Wallace and Rick Houston pronounced it as Sam McMahon. Not sure what the real pronunciation is, but I like saying McMahon, so that's what we'll go with for now. Team 3 was liquidated at the end of 1991. Kenny Wallace was going to drive for him in 92, and things just went south. There is another one, and that car was just a really unique-looking car. It was just kind of a primer gray. It wasn't really fancy. This is the 1991. That gray color there that you see, that was the color they ran almost the entire season. Air Force was a quote-unquote sponsor of the car for the 91 Daytona 500. And then this is a 93 Black Max. This, I believe, I almost want to say it was his ARCA uniform for Bobby Jones, who owned a car number 50. And, of course, there you see Slick 50 sponsorship. Slick 50 was kind of a lubricant, kind of like a Pie Royal or something of that ilk. But, nonetheless, that is the 4 Mickey Gibbs cards that I sent off. I'm going to put those in my album of TTMs. I briefly mentioned it the other day. I did get the last box of 2016? 2016 Panini Torque. The last box that they had on Steel City, the last hobby box. And I did get a hobby box of 2021 Panini Donruss. So we've got this set complete, but it's like, hey, these are just fun boxes to open. And I think I got something, I don't know what I'll figure out something, the way that I want to open those. We'll probably tear into one of those here in the next few days. But we'll see what happens. But like I said, we'll open up a few packs of 1991 Pro Set. It says Winston Cup racing cards. But I almost think that there was a few Busch Series drivers in these as well. Not really anything on the wrapper. Of course, Panini did not learn to put black printing on silver foil. You could scratch it off. You could probably win something, but we're not going to scratch it off because we're not going to win. That's a legend card, Maurice Petty. Of course, he passed away, was it last year or the year before? It's designated with the prefix L, and most of the pictures are in black and white. Who's that? Dick Hutcherson, Ned Jarrett. I believe I've got that card autographed by Ned. Here we go. And Danny, we were talking about this the other day, about how to tell you were talking about your Pro Set cards. I don't think I have a 92 Pro Set handy around, but the 91 Pro Set, the name band is red with the white lettering and kind of has that yellow border. Of course, the Legends is a little reversed, but the 92 Pro Set has a kind of like a gray band, if I recall correctly. Bob Rahilly, one of the owners of Raymock, There's Terry Labonte, made his return in 1991 to Billy Hagan's team. That'd be a nice one to get signed right there. I don't know if Terry does TTM, but right about there would be a nice place for him to sign that card. Bobby Hillin, relief drove for Kyle Petty in 1991 for a handful of races when Kyle broke his leg at Talladega. Bobby never recorded a top 10 in that car. I believe he had a best finish of 13th, maybe 12th at Pocono. Ran really good, just bitten with a lot of bad luck during that time. Steve Meal, who was crew chief for Mark Martin. Ted Musgrave, 1991 Rookie of the Year runner-up to Bobby Hamilton. Tony Glover, crew chief for Ernie Irvan. Mr. September Harry Gant, who won 4 consecutive races in 1991. Jimmy Spencer, who had 4 consecutive top 10s near the beginning of the season. He started off with a top 10 run at Bristol, had a top 5 run, a 3rd place finish at North Wilkesboro, had a top 10 at Martinsville, and then had a top 10 at Talladega. So that was a strong 4 races for Jimmy Spencer in that Travis Carter team at that time. Of course, we talked about Terry Labonte briefly returning to Billy Hagan in 1991, and Jeff Bodine was driving for Junior Johnson, and then they all got busted for a big engine at Charlotte in the Winston, which resulted in a 2-race suspension for Jeff Bodine, and then a 4-race suspension for Tim Brewer, the crew chief, and Junior Johnson, the car owner, which is why there was a handful of races there that Jeff Bodine, well, Tommy Ellis drove for Bodine in the Coke 600 and in the Dover race, but it was a number 97 car owned, quote-unquote, owned by Flossie Johnson. But we all know it was a Junior Johnson car. Paul Andrews, crew chief for Alan Kwiecki. Bob Whitcomb, who owned the number 10 Purelator car that Derek Cope drove. Glenn Wood, legendary Wood Brothers. Kyle Petty, of course, he did drive for the Wood Brothers for a brief period, but this was during his Sabco run. Richard Jackson, owner of the number 1 car. Billy Engel, who was crew chief on Michael Waltrip's team till he got a deal to drive to crew chief the Diamond Ridge Racing car of Steve Grissom in 1995, but also had the opportunity to drive their WCW-sponsored Busch Series car for a few races. So go back on Racing Reference, look up Billy Engel as a driver, and he did race a few Busch Series races in 1995 for Diamond Ridge. Steve Meal, we've just seen that card. Who do we have here? We have Rusty Wallace, 1989 champion. Chuck Little and Alfred Allen, that's the dad of Chad Little, but I don't know who Mr. Allen is. I know he was a co-owner of Fast Fever Racing, but I don't really know anything about him other than what ProSet put on the back of this card. There's Ernie Irvan. Does he have his hand out the window? Yeah, he's catching a breeze there. We have Buddy Baker, the Marines car. There was 5 cars in the 91 Daytona 500 that either had no or very, very limited sponsorship. So the 5 branches of military, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard all put their names on the car. And R.J. Reynolds covered the cost of those sponsorships, if you will. And there's the Navy car. That was Greg Sachs. This was actually a Diamond Ridge Racing car. And there you see the other cars on the pace lap. Dave Marcus with the Coast Guard car. Mickey Gibbs, we talked about him. And if there's a 7 car there, Alan Kwiecki had the Army colors. Alan ended up being the highest finishing of those guys in the 91 Daytona 500. If I remember correctly, he finished 7th. Greg Sachs was involved in an accident with Rick Wilson. Buddy Baker, Dave Marcus had mechanical problems. And I believe Mickey Gibbs might have finished. If he did, it was way back because he did have some mechanical problems as well. There's David Pearson. This has to be in the 60s, maybe early 70s, part with the Purelator team there. Soapy Castles, Neil Castles, drove the number 06 car for a number of years. Glenn Wood, we've seen him just a few minutes ago. Darrell Waltrip, this was his first year owning this particular incarnation of his race team. He did own his own Cup team back in the early 70s when he broke into NASCAR, but then would be hired by Bud Moore, Dygard, Junior Johnson, Rick Hendrick before going back to his own team in 1991, and he liquidated the team in the early part of 1998. Here's a car, a very iconic car, Folgers Ford of Mark Martin. Billy Engel, we spoke of him. Rusty Wallace, this is the car that Austin Cindric now drives, the number 2 Penske Racing Ford, as it is now. King Racing. Kenny Bernstein owned Quicker State Buick. Brett Bodine was the driver during the 91 season. Darrell Waltrip, we just seen that car. We've seen Mr. Irvin, seen Mr. Baker. There's the Navy car again. And looks like we're to the end of the rope here. So, pull ahead and win. Let's see, let's scratch this off on camera and see if we did win anything. Don't know what you're supposed to do here, but looks like it just revealed the trophy. Scratch and see if your prize... I don't know. I don't know if we won or not, but anyway, it's fun to scratch. It made me feel like I was scratching a lottery ticket. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Had a nice TTM, so thank you, Mr. Gibbs, for returning those and signing all for the cards that I did send off. Thank you, Nick Bazia, for letting me know about that number, the sequential number that I missed on that relic card from yesterday. And looking forward, thank you, Steel City, for... they have the quickest delivery I think I've ever seen. I ordered those on Friday. Mind you, it was a holiday weekend, and I got them on Tuesday. So ordered Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4-day turnaround during a holiday weekend. Very, very good. Can't ask for better service than that. So we have a 2016 Panini Torque Hobby Box and a 2021 Panini Donruss Hobby Box. Looking forward to tearing into those and seeing what kind of goodies we can come up with out on the other side. So thanks again for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below. Anything interesting that you learned from the 1991 Pro Set cards. A lot of fun to go through those. Nice little walk down memory lane, especially for me because I was a teenager during this time, really, really hot and heavy into NASCAR at that time. As I still am, still enjoy it, still enjoy the cars, the die cast, and everything else. But as always, thanks again for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. We will see you again tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.